There's a lot of... Making me nervous. Yep. Hey everybody, you will notice that the light is a little bit glaring in here because it's 8:30 in the morning and I am getting a few reps in before we head to Daventry for a lesson with Matt Edgar. We've made some pretty good progress, mainly online. We're a much better player than a year ago. We've been scoring really well on things like target darts counter, but we've kind of hit a bit of a peak on the ADC in the live on physical events, where the 3-dot average is always around that sort of 58 mark. We haven't seen any kind of gains over the last 5-6 months, so I thought, well, I put a lot of effort into this, so let's go have a lesson and see what it's all about. I'm going to show you round Matt Edgar's setup, I'm going to show you his studio, we're going to talk about what's included, what one of these lessons kind of looks like, go through the lesson, and then at the end, hopefully, I'll let him share with you some of the things that I need to work on, to hopefully get a little bit better at this game. I'm really excited, it's going to be a good day. Let's go. I was actually thinking that when I was a golfer and played a pretty good standard, sort of scratch and better handicap, you know, I was seeing a pro probably 5-6 times a year, just keeping things in check, you know, learning more about the game, keeping the swing as sharp as we could get it at our ability. But there's not really that culture of that in darts, and I kind of wonder why that is, because if you think about the cost element, I mean, if you play golf, it's really expensive to play, whereas the barriers to entry for darts is really low, right, in comparison. So kind of allocating money to getting a lesson feels like a good thing to do. I mean, I only play for fun, obviously, and I've got to say, since there's been so much sort of benefits to getting involved in darts, this community, not just obviously from a creative perspective, what we're doing today, but, you know, having those Tuesdays for the last 5-6 months at the ADC has been really good mentally, and I actually really enjoy that element to it. It's only, you know, and I'm acutely aware of my abilities. I'm only ever going to be a casual player trying to play for fun, but there's so much this game that I don't know and so much that I want to learn. So, you know, I was umming and ahhing, but I'm really looking forward to today, and not more for the throw element, but just learning so much more about the game from somebody that's been there and done it at a ridiculously high level. So yeah, I'm really excited. This is bad decision, really. It's like tops, isn't it? It's not good for you, but it's pretty tempting, and we've been tempted. So let's get this little Mackies in, and then let's head to Daventry, complete our journey, go have a darts lesson. How cool, aren't they? The new darts.
Oh, the darts are nice.
Yeah. I just want to zoom out for 1 minute. I am now speaking to you the day after the lesson. I'm just putting it together, as you can see here. And I just want to, before we beam back to Matt and myself talking about the mechanics of how the lesson went, I do just want to share with you kind of a few thoughts I'm having during this edit, actually, which is, firstly, I was apprehensive about the fact that Matt works for a brand, he works for Mission, and he had said in the comments when we were messaging that we would look at everything, including equipment. And I was a little bit like, oh, okay, are you going to end up sort of talking to me a little bit too much about equipment, talking about products, right? You know, that sort of merry way. I wasn't really there for a fitting. I was there to learn about the game, improve my technical throw, and of course bring some things back that I can actually use to help me be better in the venue, which is where I've kind of reached that ceiling, as I said earlier in the episode. The other thing I was a bit apprehensive about is we've seen Matt popping up all over YouTube, on Modus, here, there and everywhere. I know as well, having spoken to him, there's a lot more to come, and he's very busy. So I was kind of thinking, how much time has he got for me as someone that, yes, I'm paying for the service, but ultimately his to-do list is probably a lot longer than mine, and I wanted to make sure that I really got that value. And actually what I found was the complete opposite. Matt was really generous in his time. I was there for nearly 2.5 hours, actually just over 2.5 hours. And while I was there, I definitely felt like I was the only priority for Matt in that time when we were talking about my game, we were talking about my experiences, We related some of the bits to golf in a language that I can absorb and understand. And I felt really like he was super present and fully focused on me during that time, during that lesson. So let me take you back now to the lesson for some thoughts from Matt about my game and some of the things that I need to work on to improve it. I think some of what he's going to talk about will resonate with you here. Anyway, I've talked a bit here. My mind's just so busy. You can probably tell I'm still feeling, super psyched to have gone through this experience, come away feeling really positive. But let's just go back now and hear from Matt about some of the things we need to work on. Okay everybody, we have just finished our lesson here with Matt, and Matt, that was really insightful. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Yeah, I've got to say, there's one of the things that's coming out of today is there's a lot of content available online which helps you with the throw, kind of the technical piece, and I've watched countless hours, as many of you guys I know have, but actually getting it from the horse's mouth and getting it described in a way of how we can actually put some of those practice routines and some of the things that we see online technically into practice has really opened my mind, and I've got a few things to work on, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things, like a piece of content. I'm a content creator myself and I'm making this content, and when I make it, I've got to make it that fits 20, 30,000 people. Mm-hmm. It's not speaking to an individual person. Where when you get these sort of sessions, you get that sort of one-to-one, it's a case of going, right, this is what you need and this is how we can put it in. And you might have even seen some of the content that we worked on today, but it's a way in which you then go how to apply it. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes you might analyse things, you might look at things, you might go, right, that's what I need, but I don't know how to implement it. Or I don't know how to implement it in a way that's not been described in that video. And that's the trick. Being able to know what to adjust, when it's going right, when it's going wrong, when to make those changes. Certainly anything technical. Mm. The worst thing is sort of how to analyse a technical drill. Now, some people will say really silly comments like, oh, if you're a coach, why don't you fix this part? Or, because you can't do it on recalled information. Like, if you're going to try something technical and you've got no one there to watch what you're doing, you're going to film it. Then you're going to review the film, and then you're going to try changing it. Where actually you need someone there to stand and dart by dart talk you through, is that going right, is that going wrong, what can I do, how can I put it in? And you can't do that on record. No. Because you've got to do it, then you've got to review it, then you've got to try and change it again, and you don't know if you changed it until you review it. So you can learn quite a lot. I mean, we've looked today at trying to put a little bit more pace into your throw. Mm-hmm. And we worked through it, we did hole part hole, we did some drills, we got into a place, we went back to the whole drill, and you was throwing them right off the top of the board, and we went, perfect, we've got the pace we was looking for, and then within 5 minutes you got the control back. Mm-hmm. And we've got something now to go and work on, something that is visibly working straight away. Yeah, absolutely. I found going into this type of activity, I was a little bit, not apprehensive, but a bit nervous as to, well, I've watched so much. And a lot of my audience knows I come from a golf background, which is really technical, but being able to describe some of the changes we need to make in a way that I can digest and use has been super, super helpful. So just for sort of clarity to the audience here, we were working on getting a little bit more of a wrist action in the throw, and what I was doing before was just throwing it with my hand sort of spade out to the right, and coming down the line, just sort of opening out. Old habits die hard, but I haven't been able to unlock a way to get a little bit more consistent with the handprint with the throw, and I think we made some good progress. Yeah, the balance point was sort of coming behind the arm, behind the shoulder. So it was all force, it was muscle, it was push, it was effort. Certainly in a pressure situation you're going to push even more. Dart's going to drop low. We picked up, without even seeing the dart, what I expected to see, which was darts dropping low with that sort of angle. We sort of been able to make some predictions which sort of came through, so it was easy to sort of work with. And it was just about getting some more natural pace. It was looking about 15% natural pace, which we evidenced very, very quickly that we got on that throw. And then it was about, okay, now we've got this action, now we've got this throw, how can we guide this? How can we use this to practice? How can we practice with progression? And very, very quickly, we got that heart rate up in a practice drill, stood in the office, and we replicated that sort of scenario where how can we get a match situation and put it into practice? So I don't play well in practice and struggle in a match. Yeah, no, that's absolutely it. And we went round, so the really good thing about this exercise today is we've done the technical piece, but then we've tried to really put it into practice. And I think
when we did, as Matt was alluding to there, put me under a little bit of strain, a little bit of stress, we could start to see some of the kinks. And you said just then that my darts were dropping low. Lo and behold, we put the bit of pressure on, and well, they're missing just below. So
Just below, yeah.
lots to work on, lots to think about. But a really good session. I'm going to put in the description of this video now exactly how you can get in touch with Matt if you'd like to go through this technical and playing lesson that we've had today. It's been, I mean, obviously 18 months of doing this with you guys, and here I am with Matt Edgar getting a lesson. So Matt, thank you very much.
No, it'd be great to have you down.
Yeah,
Hope you
cheers.
enjoyed it.
Awesome, thank you.
Brilliant. No
I really
problems.
appreciate that.
No problems.
Thank you.
Nice.
And a final comment, which is I'd absolutely love to have recorded this end to end and shown you every element of the lesson. But of course, having spoke to Matt beforehand, I don't think that would be slightly fair. You know, this is his business, this is his teaching, and we went through some really interesting models and some bespoke ways of looking at the throw, which I think, yeah, rightly so. He doesn't want me completely sharing completely wide. So yeah, I went in there with some concerns actually. Things that I was a little bit apprehensive about, and to be fair, I'd have had no issue kind of sharing with you really maybe the honest truth of going through this process and what things I didn't like. But I've got to say I've come away feeling really positive because of a couple of elements. He was able to understand what my faults or problems were, which were probably the easiest bit, but he was able to then explain in a way that I could understand how I can overcome some of those technical changes. Quite often when you're watching content online, and this was something that I picked up when we were talking earlier in the lesson, is you watch videos, you try and implement them, but you're never really sure if you're doing it right. And actually what you do and what you feel like you do can be two completely different things. So having somebody external, who's obviously super qualified, explaining how to make those changes and get the right feelings to get the right outcomes, I've found really valuable. And I'm just excited over the next sort of 2-3 months to work on this and see if we can get a little bit better. And then also from understanding where I want to improve, which is obviously at the ADC in the venue, he was able to then build me a little bit of practice and create a little bit of purposeful practice which actually emulates some of the situations I find myself in when I'm competing at my level. So it was a super relevant exercise. Listen, I can only share my experience. It's been really positive and I'm feeling pretty psyched over the next 3 to 6 months to get to work. As I'm reflecting, I feel like I've been almost too positive and it almost feels like I'm trying to sell you a lesson here with any kind of pro with Matt himself. But no, that isn't the case. But I would say I spend a lot of time playing darts, right? And I want to learn. So I think if you're in that category, I don't think it's a bad thing to do. Anyway, as ever, hope you enjoyed this one. Take care, look after yourself. I'll see you in the next one. And just finally, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see a bit more from me, you can see my latest vlog, which is floating around up here from competition. Or if you want to play some online darts, you can have a look here where we recently played an online darts tournament. And guess what? We run them every Wednesday and you're invited to all of them. Whatever you do, as ever, have fun. Take care. See you in the next one.